what do we have to have in order to acquire the kingdom of heaven? We have to be filled with the Holy Spirit. That's one thing. And two, we have to live our lives in such a way as that we are constantly repenting, even to our last breath. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory forever.
So this is there's two parables in the gospel that are similar, and this is similar. Well, they're all very similar in a certain way. The one with the talents, but this is the one where he is invited to the wedding feast. As are we invited to the wedding feast. That's important to understand. So he sends his servant out to gather in, to call people to the wedding feast. The time has come, the wedding feast is at hand. And pretty much go there, they ignore the whole thing. In fact, they start making excuses for themselves, such as, taking care of his cattle, taking care of this or that or the other thing, and not coming to the wedding feast. It's important you understand that the wedding feast, of course, is the resurrection. The wedding feast is the feast at the end of all existing time, when we shall be united with God in fullness and truth. That wedding feast. And so then he goes to the highways and the byways, and they find people to fill the wedding. But when they come to, he comes to a man who is standing there. Where's your wedding garment? I mean, you were invited to the wedding, but where's your wedding garment? And he's speechless. He has nothing he can say. Remember that point I just made now. Remember that. That's an important point. He's speechless. And so then, he says, you're going to be cast into utter darkness where the worm dieth not, and that terrible, terrible ending for a life, a human soul in this world. See, the point being that man had never sought virtue in his life. He had never, ever sought virtue. And how does one acquire virtue in their life? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Love God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. If you can do just that, love your neighbor, not judge your neighbor, not be angry at your neighbor, not remember wrongs about your neighbor, all these things. We live in a news, literally we are inundated with the news 24/7. In fact, if you are foolish enough to go to bed with your iPhone, you will be woken up many times throughout the day, throughout the night, by little beeps that come in that want you to wake up and see what new thing has just happened. Little beep, 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 and people swear, they go, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. Then turn it off. Then take it out of the room. It's horrible to think that you sleep with one of those things next to your bed all the time. And so it's horrible. I'm just going to say it's a horrible thought, because it keeps you from having restful sleep. It keeps you too much in the know. If you know too much, it's not even that good to know that much. In other words, we don't need to know that much about all the chaos of the world's in. at any given time, up and coming elections and all that stuff that goes on. It's just constantly getting these messages that say, I need you, please, give me some money, I need you for the election, Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness at stake. Don't believe it. Don't believe all that nonsense. Do not be so bound up with the things of this world that you forget God and that you are unprepared to when he comes to the wedding feast. That you have no virtue living inside of you because all you've ever been is a taker. Someone who takes from others. Someone who doesn't give to others. Someone who doesn't help others. Now maybe nobody in this room is like that, but you probably know people that are like that. You probably know people that actually are takers. In fact, they never stop taking. But we're supposed to be givers. Not just givers of things, but givers of the good things of life that God has bestowed upon us. His blessing, his grace, his holiness. That's what we're supposed to give. And we do that so simply, just by offering a prayer on behalf of someone. God bless Bill, whoever Bill is. Just God bless. You don't even have to have long involved, stand there parading your arms around, God bless Bill. We don't really need to do that. That's not necessary. In fact, it's a little extravagant. Just to say all you really have to do is to say God bless Bill. God is everywhere present, and he fills all things. There's never a place where he isn't. He can hear everything you think, not only what you say or do, but he hears everything. He knows what goes on in your brain. So if you are in the habit of remembering wrongs, being angry, and being deceitful, and lying, and being light-minded, not being aware of your need to come to the wedding, then you have things to think about, because that is the actuality. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go to the wedding. He's inviting us to the wedding. Yes, we have the Divine Liturgy today, and that is a part of the wedding, but eventually there will be the final call to the wedding, and we do not want to be dumbfounded when he says, where's your wedding garment? You don't have your wedding garment on. You dress shabbily. You have all, and then all he can see is that you're not in the image and likeness of God. All he can see is that you're not in the image and likeness of God. There's no image and likeness in a person who doesn't have the wedding garment. Because when we are baptized and chrismated, we are given the wedding garment. That's exactly what we get. We get that wedding garment. We have the potential then to live the commandments of Christ and to live according to his will so that we can inherit paradise with him. So I was talking with someone before the service, and as happens, does that mean that you don't make any mistakes whatsoever? Well, that's helpful if you don't make mistakes, but the reality is that we do all make mistakes. We all do things incorrectly. We all do the things we say we shouldn't do. And at any given time, we could be cast out if God so willed it. But it's not even his desire to cast us out of paradise, to cast us out into utter darkness. His will and his desire is that we be with him forever. So he gives and continues to give over and over and over again. He continues to forgive. That's why we have confession. That's why we have confession. But here's the thing, because, at the Last Judgment, when we do that just before Great Lent starts, the Last Judgment, there will be the goats, those who are on the left. And there will be the sheep, those who've been called into paradise. And we'd like to think that everybody could make it to paradise. Everybody can make it, but we'd like to think that everybody will make it. It just isn't that way. God has shown us over and over again that it's not that way. So what do we have to have in order to acquire the kingdom of heaven? we have to be filled with the Holy Spirit. That's one thing. And two, we have to live our lives in such a way as that we are constantly repenting, even to our last breath. I've told you plenty of stories about people who on their last breath repented for all their sins, and we're pretty sure they made it to paradise. And we don't know, because God hasn't revealed it yet. But just to say that there's strong potential for that, because they repented even at their last breath. Because in their life they did good. They did good things. In spite of themselves, they did something that was good. And so when they chose to come to the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, the Orthodox Church, when they chose to come that way and be baptized and chrismated, that gave them new light and that image in the likeness of Jesus Christ, because that's how you will be known by him, if you are in his likeness. After that likeness that Adam and Eve had before the fall. So it's important, brothers and sisters, that we have faith. And we struggle with faith because I'm not sure why we struggle with faith. God is always giving and always doing and always helping and always wanting to do more on our behalf, and yet we somehow doubt him. We doubt him that he actually is sincere, because we would be demonstrating no doubt whatsoever in him if we just did the things that we're supposed to do. Love God, love your neighbor, give alms, pray, fast, and give tithe to the church. If you do the things that are necessary. People are constantly, I think I've shared this before, tearing down their old barns and putting up new ones with the extra cash or extra money or extra power they have gained in time, instead of putting it up for the kingdom of heaven. So it's important that we understand that how we act, what we say, the things that we do, those are what really matter in this world, as we seek to overcome the fallenness of this world. And so, brothers and sisters, give thanks to God. Be faithful. Be faithful. Have that wedding garment clean and ready for the wedding feast. When he calls you to the wedding feast, don't be lacking. Come ready, come eager, come ready to give blessing, to receive the blessing, and to be with God forever in paradise. Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory forever.
Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. Blessed are the blameless in the way who walk in the law of the Lord.